Abushia, Yabema Kwabasronko so aba POG Media so. Meso safi no wabasoa. Obe like no subscribe na afin so etima share Šļ0ť no. Ama foforo so nsa atumi aka. Ensam ekoso my Ghana mu a yenso ya depene yese brand no. Yabem yabedwafo ehunu de eko ene de eba na de ensam ene ekoso political highway ni so. Eye journalist efreno eye Erastus Ǎllěģědly atese oye adwuma ewo multimedia Joy News ana chese anka Galamsey ebonitu ekunuwo eye Galamsey site ebra oni ni team ebopiem ewo one of the NPP gurus ne Galamsey site o mokwa ko teki eye footages omode drone score ya chese omokwa kutwa de wa omo sense ase no omo say Ghana nsuo omo say forest na chese Erastus ene ni team ebowura eye NPP guru ne site se enkomo ye dey omokwa kuteki footages we na chese tags anase beka se abode form guide da Galamsey site to show mo so a pupo chese boa omo abo Erastus ene ni team ate so mo asizi omo phones a nyame nko anko omo bubo mutuo akumomo no enye asemkuma na chese Galamsey no eye NPP gurus no ene shaase a omo say forest omo say nsuo na oye journalist na yi wanim say ya ade a obekun ati anase o de documentary efa Galamsey ebeba abonti a na omo pese omo je okra free wunsem entime ncha okra mepesa bedwafo be miako na yakwa akoti ebra eye Erastus ebo na mane de esi ewo Galamsey site wo no na nsa na ebekono me show wonsem kai bia o de be share a comment section or like share ma foforo enso nsa entumi enkabi bedamase.
Now, let's watch this short video and sana be ra into the wagon. Erastus Ǎllěģědly. Senior on in the group omo documentary I expose Ghana. Baby a Galamsey say yensu. And the NPP, MPs, omni ministers are come together to go and try and attack them. Omo pese and komuko Erastus and in the crew omo expose MPP by way the Galamsey they are doing in Ghana. Mrekuduka Charles Bisiu eko ewusi kojo Akroma eye Lord Come chairman wuntumi obi te se eye Šļ0ť mfua kwekuba komo NPP ye Galamsey serious yet yes yakwaje chamfine Galamsey chairman wuntumi onyusu chamfine wo Ghana wo chairman wuntumi ofo chamfine ye Galamsey chairman wuntumi the excavators the ye Galamsey Šļ0ť mfua or the excavators the gun wuram no obundua chamfine or the eden chamfine chairman wuntumi wapa chamfine ho obu hectares upon hectares obundua and the chemicals igu asasima was a chamfine lala so life what they use to Šļ0ť mfua o use chamfine o use excavator Charles Bisiu o use excavator eko ewusi excavator Lord Come excavator omo a ye list din e wo Professor Frimpong Boatin expose and that's the document no they don't use chamfine ne boy saying me kram tia meto to 50 chamfine ne boy saying chamfine do 400 million chairman want to me use excavator and no di bundua was a chamfine mo de den it is so for be akoti chamfine for ye kwa na akoti chamfine mensa chamfine was a chamfine no nipa chamfine meto to 50 at a certain maintain me ho me nkom accounts dia media 10 meto to chamfine 50 intimamo mango for being Jimmy. Now watch Erastus Ǎllěģědly heartbreaking story about senior omo attack omo till date omo attack Erastus Ǎllěģědly and in the crew. We have still not seen any arrests. The Ghana Police Service is mute because a MP the Galamsey site NPP for Galamsey site omo hunko for and anan kombeso mu ku Erastus and in the team no.
God's grace, I'm good.
All right. So we scheduled to speak with you days ago, but we were unable to do that. However, I think it's right for us to now check up on you, how you're doing, how the team is doing so far. What's going on with you? I mean, your health.
Well, so a lot happened to us, and we needed to make sure we were okay, short term and long term. What I mean is that we received a lot of punches and slaps, and we needed to make sure that one, or fixes are good. Our eyes, mine, for example, was with my right eye, which was not really looking good that day. Some of my colleagues, the drone pilot received a lot of blows to the head, so at a point he wasn't hearing well in one ear. So yesterday he also got that checked, and he's been given medication, and I think it's getting better. Mine, I had a thorough eye screening yesterday by doctors at the Akuffo Teaching Hospital. Myself, I have eye issues, so adding pressure to that one, I wanted to make sure that the back of the eye is okay. Thank God, it's looking good. So I think we are good.
The last time I spoke with you, that was like 2 days or 3 days ago. You said you weren't seeing clearly. How's your vision now?
Yeah, that was in the right eye, but it's better. It's better.
Have you seen any specialists yet?
Yes, yesterday, I must say thank you to Dr. Mahama, who is an eye specialist at the Akuffo Teaching Hospital. He had some time for me, about an hour of screening, and it got checked out. Now I think it's okay. My fears have been allayed, so I'm good.
All right, Erastus, for the benefit of those who don't know exactly what happened, just in about 2 minutes, tell us what happened to you.
So about 3 weeks ago, normally we have a lot of information coming from well-meaning Ghanaians, from communities, from chiefs, from politicians, policemen, even soldiers. And sometimes I even wonder why people clothed with powers will rather come to a journalist instead of going out to enforce the law. But I think it's obvious that they are afraid of victimization. And so we had one such information stream that was coming from a prominent Ghanaian who was not happy with what was being done to the Asananyo Forest Reserve, which is in the Amanse South district. And the river Asananyo, which flows into the Ankobra, he was not happy that it was being polluted the way it was by a company that has a license to mine, at least. So he sent me a copy of the licenses and some pictures as well. But, even when we have such compelling information, we do not go ahead to report. It's not our style. We deal with it professionally. We will want to go to the field, check it out ourselves, know the level of destruction before we report. So we set out on Sunday, and we left Kumasi about 6 a.m. We reached the site at Esumenya. Esumenya is close to Mansonkai. If you pass through Sefi, you go through Sefi Asarenso to Sefi Mrewa to Aboso before you get to Esumenya. And we flew the drone to check the place. We saw that there were 2 gentlemen, young men, and some women on site in some makeshift apartment. And so we entered, greeted them, and we started our investigations on the ground. And indeed, what we found was enforcing the fact that what the gentleman sent us was indeed correct. The stream, the river Asananyo, you could not even identify it from the mess that has been created over there. They, contrary to law, they did not have any tailings dam, or they did not have any settling ponds that will contain the poisonous mining residue from their operations. In fact, they were using illegal mining methods, artisanal washing methods. Normally, large scale, you're supposed to use a certain kind of method to extract it, to process your gold. That was not being done. They were using artisanal, illegal methods to wash on the field. And the devastation, Annie, was extensive, more than the guy sent us. In fact, we flew the drone for minutes on end, and it wasn't ending. And what broke my heart was the fact that there were trees. The place is part of a land restoration project that the government has spent money to grow trees, citronella trees, and they've matured. And this guy has pulled all of them, it's not all of them, majority of them down to mine. So in a way, we paid money to restore that forest, and we are pulling it down with no proper mining method. So in the midst of filming, then I heard one of the two young men we met at the site speaking on the Motorola and telling somebody that some media personnel are here, so you should come. Normally when we hear that, it's not something we ignore because, one, it could be they are inviting the owner of the mining site to come. Two, it could be they are inviting hoodlums, thugs, to come and assault you. So I asked the drone pilot to bring the drone down. But the drone had gone very far, and so it takes time for it to, maneuver, take its time, correct itself, get the GPS directions, and come back. So before the drone could touch down, we saw over 10 heavily armed, and they were all holding pump-action guns, running towards us. So we had to just wait and see what will happen. When they came, before the drone could touch down, one of them reached for it and nearly broke the propellers. Then they took our camera. They did a thorough body search of all of us, took everything that was in our pockets, phones, gadgets, and other things. Then they took my jacket because they said I could be hiding cameras in the Joy branded jacket, so they took it. Then with a gun following us. In fact, at a point I didn't know, but these are people, if you look at their faces, some of them you could see they were under the influence of something, they were high on something, and they were holding pump-action guns. And the way they were brandishing it, at a point they were clocking it, removing bullets and putting them back. Seriously, I was scared, but I had to maintain my calm. They said we should get into our vehicle by force. They are taking us to see the owner of the site. I said, where is the owner of the site? They said the next town called Dawusaso.
Abusia, eti ensem no mu bi ene ekokuti na abra eye Erastus ebona mane no otwemu se eye the wa omu lead omu de omu ko share forest bi mu achese ankanyame enyame ne twitwaje eye da journalist ya anka taxi ebo mutuo esi omu ewo forest wa achese nka atwure din that is NPP gurus no omo ma ka chile abode form guide omo site ne say journalist bia ba site wo anase any public figure bia anase yemfa ne say citizen bia ba eye Galamsey site wo say oba be take footages oba be hwe de yekoso site wo omo mbodi tuonku no omunkuni free atiasefo asase so achese anka Erastus anka nyanyame na be ma anka oni ni team anka mo kwakoji omuwuo eye one of the NPP gurus na Galamsey site a chese na enya asem kuma na Kevin Ekwabedu Taylor ede to aso awchese Galamsey chese ye ehonsem ne na momamu a ye ka obi atu na no aguso a oka no enye nipa bia na ye Galamsey no eye na Addo ene na MPP gurus omo na ye Galamsey no esan se eye chama no ntumi obi anim se chama no ntumi or the excavators ene cham washing plant ene ese yensa ase enso na Addo entimi nka MPP gurus na shaase ena omo se eye Galamsey ba esan se eye media houses ni bin ya hyehyɛ omo afunu omo ye pesem minkumi nyanti omo ntimi nyare enka esan se de to eye Erastus join his current mama publish say ni na ato omo adwuma ye ni baako nemum other media houses and a free Erastus are all bona money na say o join news adom ne some media houses bia omo kwakoye say omo ye NPP stations NPP gurus na to omo intade na ekobo ne kula say ekopapa achese Kevin Taylor do to aso wa fire omo left and right center achese enye asem kuma ma pesa bidwa force abem yakọ na kwakotie Kevin Taylor ne nsema ono so edu tudan.
I said okay, fine. We got into the vehicle. One guy who was holding a pump action got behind the driver, sat behind the driver. Another one sat in the bucket. Then 2 vehicles were ahead of us, armed with people in it. Then behind us, another vehicle. We had motorbikes flanking us. We drove for 20 minutes. We got to Dawusaso. Then they were going past Dawusaso, the town. They said we were going and entering into the bush. So I stopped the car. I asked the driver to stop the car. And the moment as we stopped, all the armed guards came towards the car. Why have we stopped? And I said, we need to know where you are taking us. So you tell us where you are taking us. Because he said we're going to see the owner at the Usaso. Now we're going past that. We are entering the bush. So tell us. In fact, they were rather angry. They said, we came to their site illegally, so we do not have the right to ask questions. If the driver cannot drive, they pointed the gun at the driver that he should get out for their driver to drive our vehicle. I said, no. So we got back, and I told the driver to just follow them. Because the way they were brandishing the guns, I didn't want to infuriate anybody, so they fire accidentally or something. So we kept going. 20 more minutes. We entered some bushy, secluded area with an untarred road. They entered the untarred road and then stopped. Then they asked all of us to get down. Seriously, at that time, it was like somebody leading you into an unknown area and asking you to get down so he shoots you. That was what was running in my head. So I hesitated in getting out. And I asked the guy, why are you bringing us to this bushy area? Where is the owner of the site? Before I could say Jack, I received 2 hot slaps from behind, and they pulled me out. They pulled my other colleagues out, and then the beating started. So one will hit you from the back, the other one will hit you from the front, slaps from behind. Everybody, like this one will come, will slap you, go behind, and another person will slap you. So at the point I told them, you can't be doing this. What is the purpose of this? What do you want? We are doing our legitimate jobs. If you feel that we have offended the law, then take us to the police station. But you cannot subject us to this beating. Then they told us they gave us our phones, said we should take our phones, apply the password, open the phone for them to format the phone. I said, you can't format my phone. Why are you formatting my phone? They said, we've taken pictures at the site. I said, fine. That's even illegal. I have every right to take pictures. But if you want to delete your pictures, I can open the phone, photo folder for you. Then you delete what you think is there. But if you say you're formatting my phone, I'm going to be a hero.
So how many slaps did you receive?
Come again, Annie.
How many slaps did you receive?
I can't count. I can't count.
Okay. So they took you into the forest and then left you there.
So after they deleted pictures from my phone, they formatted the phones of my colleagues, some of my colleagues. Then they took a bag in a car. It contained our drone batteries, 5 of them, a tablet, a headset, and they took my Joy branded jacket and they left.
Okay. Okay, so that's when you called for help.
So we went to the next town, the Mansonkai police station, to report. But we were told they did not have jurisdiction, so we should go to Mansoué-Dubia. And we went to Mansoué-Dubia, did a report. They gave us medical forms. We went to the hospital. We came back, and they gave us armed policemen, numbering about 8. Then we went back to the site. They said they were going to arrest them. We went back to the site. Yes, we met them all right. They were there. This time, I don't know where their guns were. They did not have any guns. But they engaged the police in heated verbal exchanges, some of them saying, threatening them that their government is in power. And so they won't board any police vehicle. They won't go. So the police came back, sat in the car, said we should go back to the station without them. So we went back without a single arrest. In fact, they arrested the 2 young people who called the metromen in. But with the macho men, the armed people, none of them was arrested. Then we went back, wrote our statements, and left the place around 9 p.m. back to Kumasi. The next day, the Bekwai command called me. They put together reinforcement, said we should go back to the site. We went back to the site, there was nobody there. Where I suspected they would be, I told the police to go there. They said no, their vehicles cannot go there. So we came back.
What's the name of the company that owns the site?
It's called Addo Metallum Resources Limited.
Addo Metallum Resources.
And our checks, it belongs to one Simon Aiden and Reynolds Kwame.
Simon Aiden.
Simon Aiden.
And then
Reynolds Kwame.
Reynolds.
Kwabi.
Kwashi.
Kwabi. Kwabi.
BI. Okay. The police gave us some updates that they had arrested 3 persons. What has happened to them?
In fact, yesterday we also tried to find out what has happened to them, and the police were seeking our, I don't know whether our advice or I should put it this way, but they were asking, they wanted to proceed with prosecution, and we said yes, that's what we want.
Okay, are you
since then, this morning I have not spoken with them, so I don't know.
But
what has happened
is you and your team taking any action against the owner of the site, the mining site? Legal action,
I know my company is working on something. I've not been fully briefed on what the actions are, so I'm waiting. But on the license, the mining leads I have seen, the MD, the name on the sheet, the MD is Philip Esteem Kuchinyo. And while the director stroke secretary is Adeline Tete. And per our checks, Simon Aiden is the owner of the lease. And Reynolds Kwabi is the operations manager.
Okay. Okay.
This is the reality on the ground. It's a whole government cartel. The Galamsey devastation you are seeing and the destruction of water bodies in Ghana all over the place, it is being done by the government. NPP members and Galamsey wa Ghana. Don't let anybody lie to you. You know the reason why Joy News Ankasa Multimedia, they cannot even basically push this story. They cannot push it because say I'm gonna try anything nasty with this story. There are people in government will have issues with them to the point where I'm gonna be shutting it down. I'm telling you. Inti Joy News Nankasa na Erastus Multimedia no, they did not add any relevance to this story because their people are also in government. Kosichum no, ne now for ne wa MPP nimu. And they are the people who have been helping the NPP to sell a message to say, Galano, it is a general thing. No, it is actually orchestrated. It is well planned by NPP government. In terms say, 90% of you, Mosheme, Joy News Krampono did not publish this thing more than once. Omo can once and one day be, and that's it. Because
Abusia into winning sama ekoso our political highway le so atese anka ye brother ba akope eye Erastus Ǎallěģědly journalist atese wono watu ne ho asi wo se Galamsey ekoso ese o my Ghana yensa ase ni issue no obeku atia ode footages beba obeko Galamsey site or the drones beko ako take pictures videos na ye hu omo mo hye Galamsey na ase ese yensa ase ne etime atu omo so sa we no Bawumia one of the NPP gurus ne Galamsey site chesenkanyame ambema anka omobo Ǎallěģědly tio akum no one ne team atese even omo ankum omo kra no edem a omo adidi teams ni bi no enye asem kuma obuwa nani obuwa na so chese ya bo bia suma even o kasakra onte de o ka abusuade e course e wa Galamsey site no na asefem na esanso eyare ho sema enye asem kuma intimeda abedwafo ase se modwe peniye amiyekuti eye ensema ekoso ewo political highway no so efa Galamsey ho nsensem aha eye POG Media medamase